Want to grow onions now, do ya? Alright. Are universally used all over the place, all sorts of cooking and recipes. You know, what I love about onions is you can fry them up, cook them down, and they get this lovely sort of sweet gooiness to them. You've got two choices. You either grow them by seed, which I would actually recommend growing by seed. I would say sow some by seed, because the good thing about growing them by seed is you can always harvest the stems. One thing about growing them from seed is I've heard on numerous occasions, if you want to grow big onions or bigger bulbs, you're better off starting them from seed and not disturbing them. Apparently buying the sets, although very convenient, you're not going to achieve as big onions as if you could growing them from seed. All these guys that grow them big Spanish onions, they always grow them from seed. So maybe something for you to think about there. But having said that, the convenience of growing the sets is huge. You know, the fact that you can put them in the ground, they're even frost hardy. You can get them into the ground in March. They're going to grow on and give you onions. So I would do both personally, but it's completely up to you. To be honest, most of the time have done sets. I now grow the sort of intermediate sized between the spring onion and the normal onion. I really like them. I like to stir fry personally, and I like to harvest them like that. And if they looks like they're developing a good bulb, I might leave them. So there's a few different options with onions, but you know, onions are a cool weather crop, and they're frost hardy, and they're just a great thing to have going. I would sow a row of them in spring. See how you get on with them. You know. They do like a well-drained soil. Having said that, a clay loam is good, because what you don't want is them drying out too much. That's something that usually makes them bolt. And that's another thing. If in summertime, you know, or the height of the season, as they're coming, you know, they're getting on, you know, you get this dry spell and they get a big flower head come out the middle. You want to chop them out. I eat them. I think they're all right. People say they're too tough. I really like the flower stems. They're good in stews, but you know, the minute they throw them up, chop them out, you want it to put energy in at getting that bulb. You don't want it to set seed, unless of course you collect your own seed. But I usually go for the red onions. Now what I was going to do today is show you how I plant them, but would you believe it, I didn't turn the mic on, and I did the whole blimmin' video, and I was actually very happy with that video. And I've sowed them all in a row, and look, I'm not going to dig them up. Alright, so you know, if you're going to sow them, it's your usual thing. They're quite small seed onion, small black seed. Again, you know, really what you want to do, it's the seed width to soil ratio. You know, don't bury them like dead, you know, but make sure they're covered enough. You know, I would say most onion seeds, about 1/2 centimetre is probably enough. Probably don't want to go much more than that. But the sets themselves, just try and pop them in. I would put them in about 1 inch max. Put them in about 1 inch, because what can happen is, especially in this time of the year, you know, February, when not much else is going, when they start to pop out the ground, the birds will peck at them and scratch around, and you will dislodge them. So that's something you've got to watch out for with the sets. But you know, they're well worth growing, because onions are very versatile, and even some of them you don't get very big bulbs. Some of them just sort of, you know, put more into foliage. We'll chop them up and put them in a stir fry. You know, so they are versatile, and you can't go that far wrong with them really. But yeah, keep them in summer. Make sure that they're in a soil that's going to retain some moisture. Otherwise you're going to get bolting, and the bulbs aren't going to develop as well as they should do. You've got to keep them weeded. You have to keep these guys weeded, because otherwise you're going to be up against it. You know, they don't have any sort of spreading habit at all. So you've got to make sure that you weed these things. Otherwise they're going to be justified. You know, that's why it's always useful to have a little layer, an inch layer of mulch or a loose soil, and you know, you can get in there and just hoe around them without chopping them off. And I've done it loads of times, and it's bloody annoying. You know, when you've got your onions at the end of the year, try and plan it so that you know you're going to have a couple of dry days with some nice sun. What you do is you pull them out and you leave them on the surface to dry out, and that will give you the biggest storing capacity for the onions themselves. You know, it gets them that sort of hard, dry outer skin, and you need like a hot sunny couple of days to do that really. But there you go, really. You know, fertile, well drained, full sun. Try and keep moisture content consistent and the weeds down. I'd personally sow seeds and do the sets. So there you have it, growing onions, great crop. Get out there and grow some!